and Coach Pannell's a big believer in that, and kind of leads that all the time, to get our guys' minds right. So hopefully those mistakes and those errors don't happen as often.
Yeah, that's kind of the name of the game, limiting those mistakes because they're going to happen, and just not hopefully they don't happen at the worst possible time, when you're out there on the field or going on. Talk to me about your kind of your program, and I know that you guys do a good job of making sure that they are taking care of business in the classroom as well. They are student athletes, and just how you guys kind of take these young boys and turn them into men.
Oh, well, we got a bunch of different systems in place, for a small example of how important that stuff is for us. Coach Schneider has us assign a mentor for every single newcomer to our team at the beginning of fall camp every year. So right off the bat, they've got a mentor or a Bobcat brother, however you want to phrase it. But they're going to have somebody to always go to, at least that first time around in fall camp, somebody they can ask questions to, hey, what's the schedule? Hey, when can I take a nap? Hey, I need to go get some deodorant. How do I get out of town? Little things like that. So that kind of builds that foundation. From there, we're going to have, obviously, I'm sure every football team in America is doing it, but, they're going to have guest speakers, alumni coming in and talk to our guys. We're probably in a pretty unique situation being so close to the Omaha and Lincoln area, and that's where most of our alumni tend to be. So maybe we have a little bit greater access to some of those speakers and things like that, but that's a really good thing for us. What else we got, Justin?
I think, a couple of the things that we do, we've got a study table, and obviously a lot of colleges and most colleges have that. But, from our standpoint, it's something that we emphasize. It's something that we really want our guys to attend, and some of them they're required to attend, given their, current grade situation or whatever it may be. But I think a really big component and something that we take, extremely serious is our role, not just as coaches, but at the end of the day as mentors and, for some of these guys, the only male figure that they have in their lives. And so that's what's really nice. And, I'm sure we'll talk about facilities or something later, but we've got a football only field house, and our guys know where to find us every single day, every single moment of every day. And so if they need to come talk about real life stuff, they can come talk about it. Or if they just want to talk about the next play and just to get their mind off of something or whatever it may be, they can come talk to us and they can come hang out with us. And we're not the type of staff that's just going to, be, no, I don't have time. And I've been around some of those staffs. I've seen some of those things happen. That's just not who we are. Part of us, like you said, take some boys and turn them into men. I mean, part of what we do is teach some guys real life, situations and ways to respond to those, ways to respond to when life kind of punches you in the face or when things are going really well. Like, these are some things to do, and these are some things to keep things rolling. And, that's a part that, like I said, we take very serious. We're very passionate about that side of things. I don't know that anybody coaches at this level for very long and doesn't have a heart and have a ability or a want to serve young men in that capacity. And so, for us, I think that's a really important part. I think once guys kind of understand that we're going to love on them and sometimes it's going to be tough love, but we're going to love on them and we care about them and we care about their success well beyond the football field. Once they start to understand that, we see a big transformation in guys and their willingness to do more for the team, to do more for us, to do what's needed for us to be successful. And so that's exciting. That's an exciting part of our job. And obviously, we want to win football games, and that's ultimately the goal, or one of the goals. But I think, helping those guys start to understand how life works and transitioning them into that situation is super important as well. And is kind of an honor for us to be able to do that and kind of work through that field.
Yeah, I know when we met at the 8-10 varsity combine, when you were down for that, you and Coach Schneider a few months ago, and just talking to you guys that night, I really got the feeling that, that is a big focus of your program. Not only, everybody's trying to win games, and you guys are trying to do that as well, but, you're really being there for your guys and helping your guys through everything, just daily life. And, that definitely is an important part of what we as coaches do, on the high school level, at the NAI level. It's harder, at those bigger levels. There's a lot more business side to the game of football. The higher up you go with it, but it still is a part of our job, and especially at your level. And I'm glad to hear that you guys are taking care of your guys.
Yeah. And I think, one simple thing, that I guess we kind of talk about, and I think, is important, no matter the level of player or no matter how good he is or how, bad he is or whatever it may be. At the end of the day, we want to create an environment and we want to create a culture that guy is better on our team than off our team. And no matter what they do on the field or what they do, quote unquote, for us, we want to make sure that that's the environment that we have and that's the culture that we have, that they're better because they're on our team, not because they're off of it. So.
Yeah. So how do you guys feel? We kind of went through your schedule. How do you feel about the upcoming season? How do you feel like you guys will stack up against really what is, the toughest NAIA conference in America?
Yeah. I think the big thing is just excitement. A couple things I've learned being at the NAI level. Number one is you never know what's going to happen until everybody shows up. There's always a couple things that happen between injury, summer grades, and just like Coach Hoffman kind of alluded to earlier, some of our guys that we have here just got stuff that they're dealing with back home. So getting them back here for fall camp, you just never know what that's going to be like. But with that being said, everything goes right. We are really excited, especially defensively, with the type of experience we got coming back, the type of speed and what we think of those guys and what they've done in our league so far, really gearing up for an exciting year. But, on the flip side, like we've all mentioned already, best NAIA conference in the nation. And I think this is one of those years, I went back and counted it up not too long ago, where pretty much every school in our conference has their returning starter at quarterback from this last year. So that always makes things a little bit difficult, but I tend to be fairly optimistic about things too. So,
you briefly mentioned your facilities. Why don't you guys tell us about your facilities? I know your stadium, the historic Oak Bowl, was rebuilt in 2015, so that's fairly new. Facility-wise, and you have a football-only field house. So talk a little bit about your facilities and how new they are and what they look like.
Like you said, the football field itself was built in 2015. It had been around since 1909, and to be honest with you, until 2015, I'm not sure much had changed since 1909. It was very, what do I say, nostalgic place to play. People hated coming here because of the crowd and those sort of things. But in terms of facilities and up to date, it was not very, very good from that standpoint. So definitely the new stadium helps. It's brand new turf. We have it, redone every year. So it's a beautiful place to play. And obviously it's surrounded by oak trees. So that's kind of the Oak Bowl, quote unquote. But it's just a real beautiful place. It's a great place to catch a game, and and obviously anybody that wants to come out and check it out, feel free. We'd love to have you and love to visit. But from the standpoint of a football only facility, we do have a football only facility. We purchased it 2 years ago. The players moved into it a year and a half ago. We completely redid the locker room. It's going to be done in 4 different phases, and so the first phase is already complete. Phase 2 is being completed right now. With construction outside, they're redoing the parking lot, those sort of things. And then obviously phase 3 will be coaches' offices and those sort of things. And then phase 4 is kind of the completion of the players' lounge. But, at the end of the day, our guys love it. We got couches, in there, and we're working on some different, video game systems and stuff like that. But like I said before, our guys love just to have a place to call home and a place to come and know that they can, just hang out if that's what they want to do, take a nap if that's what they want to do, study if that's what they want to do. But they can come down and it's a place that as a football team we can call home base, and it's about a 2-minute walk from our field. So it's definitely not very far at all, and which is definitely a blessing. It's just kind of on the other side of the practice field for us, or the old practice field. So, definitely something that not very many schools have. I know, we're always kind of fact checking it, but I believe only 3 schools in our conference have it. And somewhere around 10 to 15 schools in the country have a true football only facility at the NAIA level. Which is pretty cool. We have our own training room down here, so we got a trainer down here all year round, all the time. And so Brent, he's our head athletic trainer. He's he takes care of football, and obviously he has some other sports too, but he offices out of our building. So that's a really cool thing that our guys get treated with a one-on-one basis, and we're not competing with any other sports in our training room. So that's I know a very small thing sometimes in the grand scheme of things, but when you need it, it's a very important thing as well. So,
yeah.
On top of that.
Okay, go ahead, Coach.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Where we do all of our strength and conditioning stuff at, the Al Wheeler Activity Center, that was renovated in 2010. I think they spent like $10 million on that project. And then, as the campus as a whole, for the most part, every single building on campus has been renovated. Any building that hasn't been renovated is on the docket to be renovated within the next year, if not 2 years. Also, I believe it's 2 years down the road, might be a little bit more, but I know they are putting together the plans for it. We are getting a new indoor facility within the next few seasons as well, and our AD and a couple head coaches are on a committee to put together some plans for that thing. So really exciting times from a facility standpoint on campus here at Peru.
Yeah, that's fantastic that, all your academic buildings, all your athletic buildings, you got a football-only building, everything, has either been redone in the last few years or will be redone here in the next year or two. It's great. I'm sure you probably had some good financial donations from some alumni and supporters, to get that project done.
Oh, yeah. It's a little bit of everything. We're a state-funded institution, so all those dollars aren't coming from one place; they're coming from everywhere.
That's great, Coach Pannell. Got to ask you, what it was like playing at Penn State and for the legendary Joe Paterno.
It was an awesome experience. Joe's a really good dude, and I'm very thankful that I got the opportunity to play for him and get out to Pennsylvania coming from Detroit, and the people that I met and all the things that I got to do in my 4 years, and including winning football games, playing in the Rose Bowl, playing in 4 bowl games in general, playing for the all-time winningest coach, getting a few nice-looking rings out of that. It was just a really great experience, and you won't really find me having too much negative to say about my time at Penn State.
Yeah, big fan of Joe Paterno, just, looking up to him and especially as a young coach, just this everything he did. And I know of his was getting guys degrees, getting guys to graduate, not just winning those football games. And it sounds like some of that, rubbed off on you and you're helping your guys at Peru State kind of do the same thing.
Absolutely. That was a big reason why a lot of us went to Penn State. Joe wanted us all to be more than just football players, and everything that was set up in his program was like that for us to be better human beings than we were football players. At the same time, we were going to be really good football players too. So between always being the most conditioned team on the field, I took that from him. But also, little things like, wearing a collared shirt on the road, making sure you're going to class every single day, being eligible, things like that, all stuff we try to carry on at our level. Obviously, without all the support dollars behind it, but, hey, one of these days Peru's going to catch up to everybody and not be this little hole in the wall.
Okay. It was I'm glad that you had a good experience there. You guys can find Coach Pannell on